All right, I'll try not to hold you so long in this one. But if I think you're enjoying what I'm saying, I might end up being long-winded. But um, again, I've been talking about how I lost my job, and the thing about the rat race, when you don't have any college experience. Now, some jobs, even if you have college experience, okay, if you are like here, and then you have people that rank above you here, and then you have people that rank above all of y'all here, and then you have people that rank all above all of y'all here, okay? You got all these people before you even get to the CEO that are above you that can tell you how to do your job, okay? And it's always about how your managers in them, and I know in the job that I just had, it was all about who's who with who. Okay, so I've had jobs where the manager never liked me because the minute we met, I said something that, without trying, kind of put him or her in their place. Because they were, like one time I used to run. I think I already told you the story. I used to be a material handler at just one industrial chocolate factory that I used to work at. And there was a guy that was about my height who was in better shape than me and all like that, white dude. And he was in the database as a sex offender. But nobody knew that till this one Spanish friend of mine exposed him, and then he got fired. But everybody liked me at that job. But when I became a material handler, everybody was acting like my job depends on whose cart I store first. So you got all these people. You got like 7 different places, and some of them, well, 7 to 8, sometimes 9 different places, depending on how busy we were. And you got to run back and forth and get all these carts, these pallets. That's it, pallets. You got to run and get all these pallets. These pallets are like up to like 200 to 300 or 400 pounds in weight, and only one forklift was allowed in the actual factory part of the building, and my hand jack, my hand dolly, which was electric hydraulic dolly. They actually pay you more money to operate that thing, and there's no training for it. They just pay you more money to operate it. But it was pretty self-explanatory, and I've used one before in other companies. But these guys would fight with me, would fight over who was going to pick up on whose pallet I was going to pick up first. So when we were slow, I would hang out in the room where we actually store the stuff, and we only had about like 3 or 4 people out there, and I would go out there and check and see where they were at, and whoever's done first come, first served basis, right? But they didn't want to do that. It was like, if 2 people got done near the same time, this person's completely done. He's already wrapping his packages, and this person's still piling some on top. Then they were like, well, you're going to pick me up first. And I was like, no, he's done first. Yeah, but you picked him up first before. Yeah, because he was done first before, and they would fight over that because they got like they got bonuses and stuff sometimes if they could get their candy out of the main room first and into the storehouse, because sometimes I would store the candy in there. We were so on demand and so far behind, even though we were putting in 16 hours a day, and that's why we were putting in 16 hours a day, because we were so far behind that as fast as we were getting done with the pallets, there was a truck outside where the big forklift had to come in, okay, and take them straight out of the building to the other truck and run that forklift right into the truck and store them in there. And if they didn't have to wait on your candy and everybody got done at the same time, we got bonuses for that. And we also won numbers and stuff like that. And if we did exceptionally well, they give us some kind of gift or something. They give us, I don't know, some kind of certificate or a gift card or something, But, here I am, a material handler, and I get an extra $1 an hour because the German dude left and went back home to his own country to finish school. So they gave me his job, and I was so glad. Got an extra, I don't know if it was $1 or $2 more an hour, I forget. But anyway, I took his job. And this is another reason why I'm thinking about. This is why you need to think for yourself right here. There was a guy that was a maintenance man, and he drove a forklift. They gave him an extra position as a supervisor over the people that were shipping. They gave him. They made him a line supervisor for one of the lines, but like it is in a lot of these jobs, he also was he was also the maintenance man too. He had his old job too. So he was a maintenance man / line supervisor. So he didn't spend no time on that line. He spent time walking around, going to all the different places, flirting with women and all this kind of stuff. And he had a thing for brown skin booty, okay? And so me and him, one day he came to me with his rhetoric and tried to make me leave the room because I was talking to the forklift. The forklift driver, she, her volume was slow and so was mine. So we're in there and we're talking, and she loved, this lady loved to talk to me, and we used to talk. We're both waiting for something to pick up. We're both waiting for something to pick up. He comes in there and thinks that I'm supposed to go do whatever. He doesn't have anything for me to do, but he thinks I'm supposed to just go, make up something out of nothing. He starts coming in there bad mouthing me and all like that. I said, well, sir, I'm where I'm supposed to be. If you go out there and look, and I know I'm going to do Denny first. Denny is almost done, and so I'm checking on him. And as soon as he's done, I'm going to go out there. Well, you need to be out there, then you don't need to be in here. Well, why do I need to be out there in the way? I'm in here where the work is at. Like, and he just, and me and him got into it. It was a big Napoleon syndrome thing. We're yelling at each other, and he says, well, I'll fix you. And he went into the office, and I went into the office, and the big boss that was over him agreed with me. Like, dude, you are pushing your weight around. As long as we're getting our quota out on time, we're slow today. As long as we're getting our quota out on time, then, Now, there was a black dude who, instead of asking me, because this is my job, this little forklift I'm driving is mine, that I'm pushing with my hand. This is mine. This is my whole job. there was this black dude that would come around, and he would ban certain. He would, he had his own line over there where he would ban stuff and all like that. And he would come and just grab my forklift, my jack, and go move his own stuff when I'm supposed to move it. Okay. If he asked me nicely, I'm supposed to go move stuff. He would come and I would go, I go take a piss and come back and my jack is gone. I got a charge and somebody grabbed it and took it off. Okay. So what happened was me and him almost got into a fight. Me and him grew up, and we lived in the same neighborhood. Okay. Dangerous thing I hate, and that's another thing I hate. We lived right in the same neighborhood, not too far from each other. And me and him almost got in a fight one day because I'm working and he just came up there and screamed in my ear to be smart. And everybody looked at him like, what the F is wrong with you, dude? And I said, do it again, I'm going to F you up. He knew as a Christian, I never talk like that. But he never heard me cuss before. I said, I'm about to F you up. And I got up in his face. I was 2 seconds from climbing over that belt and we was about to set it off. And he left me alone after that. Okay? He made me so mad. Okay? But this other guy got me sent to the office, the white dude, the maintenance, the guy that was in charge of maintenance. He was also a line leader. He was just coming after me every day about something. And one thing I hate, and I'm not trying to go hate on white people or black people here, but one thing I hate is when people think that you can't breathe. Like we're still living on a plantation, like you can't breathe for a minute. Everybody's allowed to BS. All the white folks BSing, but the black folks ain't allowed to BS. You over there talking, they over there talking. You see two black folks talking, it's like, okay, what's the problem? There ain't enough work to do? I'm like, what's the problem? There ain't enough work to do over there? Y'all talking too. Everybody in the corner talking. Obviously we slow today. But you want us to act like we ain't. That's not fair, man. Like, we're slow today. We get to breathe a little bit today. Matter of fact, why don't we just get our work done and go home earlier today? I mean, we're working 16 hours a day anyway. No, we can't do that. We got to sit around. We got to stand around and get yelled at for doing nothing when there ain't nothing because we waiting for something to come in. This is that thing in the rat race. Just this job that I just lost. Two people not doing nothing. They're hanging out in the office with me. And they don't even like me. They can't stand me. But they're in the office with me. Talking about whatever. I'm already working the window. It's my time in the office. I'm the man at the window. What are y'all doing? No. And this is how I walked off. I didn't walk off to quit. I walked off and told my supervisor, manager, that I walked off and this is why. And I knew they would, I knew I would, go through some repercussion a little bit. I didn't know they would fire me, But because many people have done way worse things, okay? And they're still there right now as I speak. And they've been there for years, and they've done way worse things than that, okay? And they didn't tell nobody, they didn't sign a grievance or do anything when they did it. They just did it and didn't think that they needed to address anybody or talk about it to anybody. But this guy, the maintenance guy, he got me in the office and this one girl, he started making everybody mad because one of the girls that he was hitting on was her daughter. And her daughter was like laughing at him like he's not my type, he's short and sure he's muscular, he's a nice guy, but he was saying things to her and some of the other girls, and some of the girls I walked in on, and one girl said, he say something else to me again, I'm going to get him for sexual harassment. So my one friend, her mother, we still talk today on Facebook, We've been friends for years. She came up to me and she says, she showed me on her phone where this guy is a sex offender. He's had statutory rape with kids, with young girls. And here he is posted as a sex offender, and he's here at the job rapping the girls that are barely old enough to do the job. Some of them were like 17 and 16. I think our youngest person working here was like 15 years old. You could work there. You could get a permit to work there if you were 15 years old. And we had a lot of young girls in there that were working after school or daylight there. And he was, it was a free gaming field for him. He was going to all of them and talking, and he's talking to other men's wives and girlfriends and all like this. And he just started. He didn't know. He thought he was Mr. Superflex, Mr. Super Hot somebody, but he didn't know he was building himself a fan base of people that didn't like him. People didn't like him. They were talking about him. Now my friend Elix, she going around showing everybody the pictures of him being on the sex offenders list. And I said, well, you know what? That's probably fake. Because did you pay any money to get that? She said, yeah. I said, oh. She let me know she paid like $26 to get that information. You can go on, and what I hate is I'm on there. They'll lie about you until someone pays them money, then they'll tell the truth about you. Now they got me on there because you can look up anybody's name, but they're not going to let you, they're going to give you their old addresses and their old numbers. Everything is old until you pay a certain fee. And then they'll tell you the truth. They tried to charge me $35 just to learn about myself. I'm DeRoy Cruz trying to find out about DeRoy Cruz, and they want me to pay $35, I said, that's all right, because I know. And a lot of that stuff you put on there is a lie. Because I don't have no criminal record. I've never done anything sexual with anybody. Okay? Unless being married and sleeping with my wife is a criminal offense. Okay? You lying. Okay? But, now that's one of the bad natures of the internet. Anyway, to make a long story short, this guy got sent into the office once or twice, well, twice or triple again, and they finally not only let him go because of his behavior, but because he was already warned about flirting with girls on the job. Like, stick to the job. The last girl you flirted with, she was underage, and she came and complained to us about it. And I was there. He wasn't doing anything crazy, but for him to have that for him to be on that sex offender list, if I saw a 15-year-old girl, I'd run. If it were me, I'd run for my life. Like, you know what? I'm not even gonna work in that part of the building. Or I'd say, hey, walk with me. I don't want nobody saying nothing, okay? But I watched him. He was just being funny with her and making jokes with her and stuff. But he was like standing too close to her and following her around and stuff like that. And she just wanted some, she got fired too. But the fact is, he's on that list, and that's the way he was spending his time. And even though he wasn't planning on like asking the girl out or asking the girl to meet him somewhere personal, he did that. And then my friend Elix is showing his picture on the phone, and it got back to the top. And they one day told him, don't come back in unless you're coming to get your tools and stuff that belong to you. Come in here and get what belongs to you. You're done, And so he was gone. I came into work one day, and I was like, I haven't seen what's his name all day. Well, you know why, don't you? He got fired, that whole sex offender thing caught up with him. I said, oh wow. But that's one of the reasons. That's one of the things that I hate about the rat race, is that you're getting into all this drama. You're getting into people who want to compete. And sometimes the better person for the job is the one that doesn't get promoted. The better person for the job is the one that got fired. And it doesn't only depend on when you work for a company. A corporation is paying you a decent buck for that particular type of work. It's about who you know, right? But even when you get in there, it's about who you know. Because if you and the manager of your department are not like this, y'all ain't tight. Okay? When somebody accuses you of something or lies on you or whatever, he's going to take their side before he takes yours, or he's going to leave it as fair ground. He's not going to defend you at all. Okay? And I can tell that, he's always been looking for, a way to throw me under the bus. Ever since he became our manager. Now, when we first started working there, he wasn't our manager. We had somebody else being our manager, and he didn't come upstairs unless there was a problem. But this guy here, he just, they started giving him all these tasks, and instead of him sitting, the officers down and doing formal training with us, he would just pick who his favorites were. Well, I like this guy because I never have to tell him what to do. I like this guy because, he already knew what to do. I like this guy because, I don't have to tell him certain things, or I don't have to repeat myself or whatever. He just had his favorites. And I was never on his guest list, And you're going to run into that on the job. When you're out there working a job. Like I said in the last video about Uber and Lyft. Your car is your token, is your tool that you're working with. The account is yours. There's nobody looking over your shoulder. If Uber or Lyft accuse you of something, it's hearsay. They have to prove it. If they accuse you of something, it's because of something that happened between you and the customer. They have to prove it. It's the same way with anything else you do online. And Uber and Lyft are an online position. Now we're in a predicament today to where we have all these online jobs. Now, a lot of them, most of the people that are doing online work are not your typical guy that's out here doing housekeeping at a hotel, or doing housekeeping at the hospital or something like that. He's not your typical, security guard. He's not your typical guy that even works for the city. Okay? Or the guy working in a factory. The people that are excelling at getting jobs online that don't even require any education, skills, or payments or anything. These still the smallest gig out there are people that have college degrees, and they were taught in college that the internet rules. Because what happens? Most classes you go into when you go into college, you have a laptop. Okay, you have a laptop, or you have a room that has computers in it, and that's where you do all your tutoring, that's where you do all your homework, that's where you get information, you know what I'm saying? And if you go in any library in any of these schools, what do you see? you see these big computer rooms where everybody is in front of a computer. And most kids today are doing everything from their assignments to their homework to their reviews on what they studied on the computer. And they have to learn how to download software. They have to learn how to understand all the elements, what they need to do, their step-by-step processes that they have to go through. It's no longer just, web design classes or computer education classes like I took when I was going to Strayer. No, every class, whether you're studying psychology or you're studying something medical or something scientific or whether something, industrial. You're learning, engineering, mechanical engineering or whatever. Most of your work is going to be done on a computer. You're going to do essays and tests all on a computer. When I went to Strayer University, most everything was online, and then it was an online course to begin with, and then I would go to school for tutoring, and they would have me go in a room that had computers in it to go over my tutoring. And I would sit in the class and I would take notes with a pen, but then I had to go in another room with a computer in it. Then I went in another room for another class that I had, again, a room with a computer in it. We had to sit in front of these computers. That's how they taught us. Okay, and it saved desk space because the books that he's teaching you, they're downloaded on these computers. Now, you have the paperback books. I just saw them last night. I took them out of my closet and was looking through them. I paid a lot of money on the books. I think I paid like $400 for, those 5 books that I have in there. But that all came out of my tuition. But they use your laptop, or they give you a laptop, or they have you go into a computer room, or you go in a room where your teacher is using a PowerPoint to teach you things, and he's clicking. He has to know how to use all these different things to operate the PowerPoint to do everything in consecutive order. And so the computer world is like knowing how to use a gun. If you don't know enough about computers, and not just computers in general, but computers for whatever you're studying, like if you're studying, if you do all your business at work, as far as your pay stubs and your hours and all like that, that's all done. Pretty soon there will be no punch-out clocks anymore on these rinky-dink jobs. You will go in a room and use a computer. Right now they have computerized punch-out clocks, and you don't have the one where you stamp in anymore. You go there, you push the home button, and the screen lights up, and you push, clock in, and you put in your number in there, and boom. And then you put your fingerprint in there, and a lot of them are like that today. And they're all over the building in a lot of these jobs, especially jobs high end like I just lost. But all these high end jobs, most of them, and even the ones that ain't high end, everybody's having to learn how to use a computerized digital time clock. Everything is becoming digital. It's like you don't have a driver's license and you don't know how to use a gun and you don't have a gun license. Go home. You're about to get shot. You're about to get killed. You can't protect nothing. You can't, you're not a real American. You don't have a driver's license? I mean, even if you don't drive, it'd be nice if you had a driver's license, right? You could drive somebody else's car. You could drive for the job or something like that, right? And if you're going to protect me, how are you going to protect me without a gun? You're as small as me. And you can't fight. What if he can fight? You know, what if he pull out a knife? You know, you don't have a gun. And so just like driver's licenses, you know, your DL license, even if you don't drive, a driver's license is better than your regular state license, because that not only helps you in your own state but other states, and not only helps you in your country but other countries. Okay, now they have a new PA license. I know for PA, I don't know about your state, but in PA they have a new what they call real license. It's kind of weird. People that don't have a driver's license or ask to get a real license, if you don't get that real license, it's spelled capital R, capital E, capital A, capital L. The four letter, the word real means something for each letter, but you have to have that license, or you're going to run into some repercussions. You're going to have to pay some fees and stuff, depending on where you need to show an ID at. You know, your ID is always more valid if you have a legit driver's license from your state that you're currently living in, with your current address on it, than if you have a real license or just a regular state ID. And there's all these young people out there that are suffering because they're not even old enough to drive. They got that PA license and there's some restrictions. So, and then, you know, it's very important today to have a driver's license. And it's very important, even if you hopefully plan that you'll never ever have to pull your gun or point it at anybody. I think if you're going to be out at night, if you're driving it, especially at night, you need to have a gun in your car. If you're going to be riding the subway or riding buses at night and getting off buses and getting on buses late at night, I think you should be armed, especially women. Okay, I think everybody, it should be mandatory. Trump should make it mandatory that everybody has a gun in their home. Even if you are afraid of, you know, handling that gun or whatever, take a lesson, learn how to handle it. You know, there's men out there, their wives are like gun happy. No. After getting attacked, her husband told them, baby, you need to know how to shoot. And you need to quit being afraid of the gun. Well, I don't like them in the house. Leave them locked in the shed. I'm not going to leave them locked in the shed. I'm in the house, and you're in the house most of the time. You don't even go in the shed. So why would I have the guns in the shed? No, I'm going to have the guns where I can protect you, you know. And one day they were out on the street, and they got attacked. And husband showed up right on time with his gun. He pulled that gun out, didn't even have to shoot nobody. He just pulled it out, and they all went running like roaches. Okay? And his poor wife was out there alone. And she learned real quick. I don't know what they was going to do to me, but it wasn't going to be good. So now she ready to shoot. You know, she knows now. You know, someone break in your house, okay, and they bruise you in any kind of way, still something that is totally valuable to you, call you all kinds of names in your own house and all like that, you know. Now, with everything going on, we have not changed over the years with the rat race. We went from slavery to the rat race and the competition and the racial profiling and all like that back to slavery. The difference is everybody is a slave. Unless you make a certain amount of money, you're a slave. One. Unless you make a certain amount of money, you're a slave. But even if you make a certain amount of money, if you're making that kind of money under somebody else's authority, okay, just like Candace Owens, she disagreed with Ben Shapiro on some things. Ben Shapiro fired her. Lucky for Candace Owens, there were other people ready to pick up where Ben Shapiro dumped her at. They wanted her to work for them. And so now Candace Owens is working for herself under somebody else's networking. She's networked with somebody else, but now she's not exactly working for them. She's networked with them. So, you know, she's basically working for herself. But I think she got fired from the Daily Wire or whatever that was by Ben Shapiro because he felt that she should say certain things about the Jews when she didn't agree. She felt that she should be more honest. And she felt that Ben Shapiro didn't do his research before he started defending them. Yeah, those are your people, but this particular group of Jews, they made a boo-boo. And they need to answer for it. And you need to quit covering them up just because you wear the halo. You need to let them accept the scrutiny for what they've been doing, you know. And she went back down, so he fired her. And Candace Owens is making... Candace Owens, I'm sure Candace Owens is a millionaire. If not close to a billionaire, she's a millionaire. Okay? And Brandon Tatum can say whatever he wants to say because he went from working to himself to mixing his channel with somebody that's willing to protect him from being canceled or anything. They have that authority to protect him. So whoever he networked with, they're able to protect him more than he was able to protect. He was already making pretty much millionaire money when he's working for himself. But now that he's networked and they gave him his own news channel, okay, he is able to make as much money as he wants and say whatever he wants to say, and nobody's going to stop him. And that's the good thing about when you work for yourself. So, first of all, if you can work for yourself, it's my point, you're better off. If you're working for yourself, you're not a slave to anybody. Everybody can kiss your hide because you don't work for yourself. And even if you working for yourself benefits somebody, they've done it to Kanye West. You know, they've said, oh, we're going to cancel you because you said stuff. They did it to Cat Williams. They did it to Ben Chappelle, these black comedians. They did it to Kevin Hart. Oh, we're going to cancel you. Okay? Because you don't accept this ideology. Okay? Kevin Hart was the only one that apologized. Cat and Shapiro and the other guys, they said, cancel me. And they canceled them, but they got right back up on their feet. And Kevin Hart, he didn't lose much because his, you know, he just ripped it back up with another episode or another show or whatever. Ben Shapiro, he set out on his own. He's completely out there on his own. Now, he's not making as much money as he would have if he had stayed with, you know, the Hollywood people that were, you know, controlling his industry. But Now he's working for himself. He's making a little bit less money, but he's almost back to where what they were paying him. And he's living really good. And he can say whatever he wants to say, do whatever he wants to do. And the only thing you can do if you get offended, leave. Okay, now, working for yourself. What's the closest thing to working for yourself if you have to work for somebody else? And that would be, in closing, that would be Uber and Lyft, because even if you rent their car, you're only renting it, you're independent without it. You can always turn their car in and quit. You can always, and you have to, for Lyft, I know every 7 days, you have to take the car back and trade it for another one while they put that one back to new. Which is good. That's good business. So your car is constantly, and while you're out there working, you're allowed to go shopping. I think you're even allowed to go so many miles out of town. You're not allowed to go way out of the grid, but you're allowed to go 2 hours away from your spot. You're allowed to go into another city within your own state and drive out there and stuff like that. I think you are. But now let's talk about that. I talked about that in the last video. But, that's a good way to work for yourself. Okay. With the benefit of working for somebody, and everything is covered under them. Whatever's not covered, you already paid it. You done paid for the car. You done paid the insurance. You're covered. Okay? Everything else is up to them. If somebody got a problem with you, they can take it up with them. Just like the guy, like I said in the last video, like the guy with the big woman, he told her, you can't fit in my car. My car's too small for you. I got a low-end Uber car. Not going to happen. It was Lyft car. And I know that car. I seen it online. That's a small car. He had the cheapest car. He said, you ain't getting in here. And she tried to sue him. And Lyft said, take a couple days, chill out a little bit until we handle this for you. And they handled it for him, Just like Uber when that identity thing came up. Now, they had me down for a year, and then they handled it. But they handled a bunch of other people's too, but it took them a year. And I found out after a year I wasn't the only one that they were letting this happen. And to this day, they won't admit it was their boo-boo. Nobody was trying to come in there and scam our accounts. No, somebody was coming in there scamming their accounts. Okay? And they won't face up to it, They keep claiming, we had too many emails, but it's okay now. How's it okay now? If we're using 100 emails for Uber or 10 emails or whatever, how's it all of a sudden okay after a year? It's not okay. You made a boo-boo. Why don't you admit it? But now, just imagine the people that own Uber and Lyft, and I think they're out of the country. I think both Uber and Lyft is outside the United States. The creators, they are app creators, and they are experts at maps and things of that. And that's what they are. They are an app creator who decided to build their company off of an app. Okay? And it's because of the name and it's because of the network. Something you can't do on your own. They're doing it for you. But it's still your business, especially if it's your car. Okay? It's your business. And so that's the first way of working for yourself. And you're working because you're out there and you're out there driving and you're dealing with the customers and their attitudes and their rush. and them being, unfriendly and stuff. You're going to go through that. Sometimes you're going to pick up a drunkard. I've done that once. Pick up drunkard. I picked up gangbangers, and and I knew they was going to try to get me to ride them around for free after I dropped the dude off. I rode to the stop sign with my door open. They wasn't getting in my car for free. But they were gangbangers, and they felt that they could demand things from me. That's why I don't like to ride at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm done about 8. If I ride late for Uber, I did that once, and I made $300 for it by the end of the day. I was able to make $300 within that whole day. I worked probably a little bit over 8 hours. I probably worked 9 hours. And I took a break in the afternoon, which maybe I shouldn't have did that. I took a break in the afternoon. And then I worked 9 hours. And then I worked all the way up till 2 o'clock in the morning. 2 o'clock in the morning, boom. I finally reached my destination. I could go home and sleep. And I slept for the whole next day because I was tired. Okay, but you're going to go through that. When you got bills to pay and you're driving for Uber and Lyft and they're giving you these little $6 rides, you trying to make over what you used to work for per hour, they giving you $6 rides. Okay, you be lucky if you make $19, especially if you got to put gas in the car within that hour. You be lucky if you make $13 an hour. Dealing with these little $6 rides, you're not going to make over $19 an hour when when all your rides are $6 and $8. You know what I mean? Unless you put in like 10 rides or 8 rides or something like that within an hour. But what if you never had to leave home? Now, like I said earlier, the people that are making the cheapest money online are actually college students. They know something about going online and spying out other companies and using AI and all this kind of stuff. They learned it in college. However, anybody can do it. It's just a matter of listening to somebody that has done it, tell you what he did, or tell you how to do it, and then you go do it. And there's jobs, and there's like little gizmos that you can do. Just imagine if you could take, and I'm going to do it, even if I don't get the job, even if it doesn't make me any money, because I suck at it, I'm going to try it. I have to do this because I'm not getting any younger, and right now it looks like I'm going to be working through retirement. So if I want to retire, this was the closest thing to it, is finding me a stay-at-home gig that I can do so that I can retire. But just imagine me spending some time while I'm out of work, while I don't have a job, getting online. Now, some things they've shown me that there are no fees. You don't owe, there's not even a buck. You can get started today and you don't even have to pay a single buck on some of these jobs. And you're making over more per hour than what you would make at a high-end job. You're making like $35 to $47 an hour. Okay, playing back and forth between 2 apps to build you a job online with these 3 apps or 3 or 4 apps, and they're all showing you this. And the one that's got my attention is the one where you're making like these little videos. And these videos don't have to be anything special. They just got to be whatever they need to publish or whatever. So with these, so where people are making money at is they're letting you, and that includes if you have to make any investments to use these sites. But what they're doing is they're having you go and go through all these different sites and create content for them just by simply, copying and pasting here on this site, starting an account there, and copy and pasting over here, sending an email over here, and then when you get it all done, you get your little video together, send it in, and they look at it and they pay you for it. And there's about 3 things I listened to this morning that got my attention. I think I'm going to try them. But I know I've met people while driving Uber and Lyft that work from home. And they told me, I said, well, so you work for Uber and Lyft full time? They said, no. I work for Uber and Lyft part time. I'm actually retired. I retired early. I stopped working a regular job. I haven't worked a regular job in 3 years now. And he says, I make all my money online. And I said, what do you do? He says, well, I do a bunch of things. I bounce around to different things. But he told me this one thing he did, which I could tell he went to college. And, but he's even with that, things go slow. And so he driving Uber and Lyft to not only make ends meet, but like one guy said today, talking about these online jobs, they have seasons where they go slow. Like some of them go slow in the summer, some of them go slow in the winter. So you do something else, whether you go work a temp job or go do Uber and Lyft. I say focus Uber and Lyft, that's the best. And make your ends meet. And I can be that guy. I can be that guy that after all I've been through, working all these rinky-dink jobs, and it's messed up my health, and all my enemies that I've bestowed upon myself some kind of way, people out there hating, and they can't wait for me to get in another job so they can hate on me, and just try to make my life miserable when I'm there like them. I'm there to work and go home, but they want to make my life miserable. Wow, I could do this. I could, and some of these guys on YouTube is your friend when it comes to this online stuff, because they're teaching some people that don't have college degrees. You got college, bachelor, associate people on there teaching you some skills to make more money. They're teaching you skills so that you can work the real high-end work from home job. So therefore, in closing, if you are a dude that is fed up and you've been dragged through the mud, slapped around and kicked around by the rat race, slapped around, kicked around by holding down a regular job, you've been working your butt off, breaking your back, dealing with criminals, dealing with everything from, a herniated disc all the way to getting into a fight with a criminal. Okay? You've been through a lot of things, to getting into fights on the job, whatever it may be. You've been ran through the ringer. You don't have to be some educated genius again to do online jobs. That is a myth. One of the dumbest people I know in the world can't think past polygamy in 2025. That's the only thing he ever did that he's popular for. Dude's driving around in a Rolls Royce, going around teaching people how to do what he did, what he learned to do with his phone. Not his laptop, his phone. And the dude is ghetto, but he's driving around in a Rolls Royce. It took him probably less than 3 years to accumulate enough money to get that Rolls Royce. And he's got 4 wives. He's practicing polygamy. He's a rich man taking care of 4 women and probably about 6 kids. Okay? And everybody in his household is rich. He's rich. Four of his wives are loving his riches. His kids are going to private schools in up neighborhoods. They moved to Beverly Hills. The dude lives in Beverly Hills. Do I give a rat's behind about living in Beverly Hills? I don't even like California. I've never been there. I just don't like it. It's just always been too much. I like it on the video game. I don't think I would like it if I was there, to visit. I might like Las Vegas, but I don't really like California. I don't know why. I just don't. It's just not one of them places anymore. When I was a kid, it was some place I wanted to visit. And I would meet people that would come up here, that moved up here from California. They said, you ought to come down and see us. I said, I should. But then over the years, black folks done tore California up, especially Los Angeles. They done tore that place up. Wherever there are gorgeous, beautiful city structures, black folks just always tear it up, whether it's because of crime or whether it's because these young boys getting together, and young black women too, getting together and doing riots in the city and just tearing things up, and then they get fed up and they say, oh, this is the way you want to do it, we're not investing any more money into the city. But either way, I could be that person. I could be that person that works from home. If I put my mind to it, I believe I could do it. I'm praying about it right now. When I get off this video, from doing this video, I'm going to go and finish the information that I was collecting. And, it's just a matter of this is what you got to understand about going online. Just like if you go out there and you get a job. You put in, the old way we used to do it is go to the company and ask for a tour of the company, or ask somebody about the company, and they would give you a pamphlet. If they didn't want to take you on a tour, they gave you a news booklet or something about the company, and then they would tell you what kind of job you're looking for, and they would check your qualifications and all like that, and they would either tell you have to go online and do the first part of the application online, and then they'll call you in for an interview for this last part of the application, and then you got to come in for an official interview. But now it's all online, and all you do is, a lot of times, even the interview is online nowadays. All you do is show up for work dressed and ready to go. It's all done online, and then you show up. So being all these things are online anyway, okay? And the wealthiest people in the world, regardless of what their business is, they've had to learn some online skills to stay afloat above their competition. So why shouldn't I, at 58 years old, find me at least a little gig, if not a complete job, find me a gig online gig that's going to make me enough money so that I don't have to be out there working some rinky-dink, disrespectful, slave driving job. Why can't I work for myself? And this is the closest thing to working for yourself. The best way is if you own a company, physically own a company, and digitally own a company, and it's yours, and you can just sit at home. You ain't even got to be on a computer. You can just sit home and only check that computer to see, when they're going to write out your check. Okay? But the closest thing to that is finding you an online gig. And like the one guy I watched today, he went from doing what he's asking us to do to owning, the spots where he was collecting his money from. Now he done moved up, and he has a similar spot, and so now he's telling you how to make money off of him. Okay, he's showing you how to invest in him the way he invests in other people and made millions, and now he took his millions and started his own thing. Do I believe him? I to the most part, I do. I believe him. And so I could be that guy. I could be that guy. I could be that guy. Thank you for watching. I may do more of this in a little bit. I don't know, but not tonight. So, or not this, yeah, not tonight. So I'll see you again tomorrow, Lord willing. Or I'll see you in a couple days, whichever one comes first. In Jesus' name, God bless.